Future here. How are you guys doing? So today I wasn't going to do a video on this, but I keep seeing this on YouTube and my Instagram. I'm not on TikTok at all, but I am on Instagram and of course I'm here on YouTube. So I thought I'd just talk about this with you guys for a few minutes. Um, I am going to get a wireless microphone. I just been really busy, and I haven't had the time to go buy one yet. But uh, I know I need one, and I will be getting one very soon if everything works out okay. I just been, like I said, really busy. So you'll have to turn the volume up. So anyway, I was like I said, I wasn't going to do this video. I'm not a dating coach. I'm not a relationship coach. I'm none of that. But for the last couple of months on my Instagram, everything's changed. I still get the people that I follow, but then, like every other reels, it's videos I'm not really interested in. And then I seen this on YouTube again, and YouTube seems to be doing it too. And I know you guys seen them too. It's when the young girls or young ladies come out of a club or a bar or something, and there's a YouTuber there with the microphone or Instagrammer, and he said, and he'll ask the women, how much does a man have to make before you will date him or talk to him, right? You know what I'm talking about. And for years now, I don't even know how long this has been going on, it seems like the average lady will say, and we're talking, maybe she's 22, maybe 25 years old. She'll say the man has to at least make $100,000 a year for me to go out with them or to date him, right? And we all know that's a lot of money to make a year. I know very few people who hit that $100,000 mark. I only know one friend of mine, and her husband makes close to $500,000 a year. I'm not going to say her name or what business. Everyone else I know probably makes right around the 50 to 60,000 range. So just to give you an idea, so when I'm watching these Instagrammers or YouTubers, it kind of makes me smile in one hand, but the other hand, it's really sad. I don't know where these young women got this mentality at. And usually the interviewer, when they interview these women, they're like mids. I mean, they're like 4, 5, maybe 6s. They're not even 9s and 10s. And I'll tell you something, when they say they won't even talk to a man unless he makes $100,000 a year, their mouth is saying 100,000, but their eyes and their face are saying like $500,000 to $1 million a year or more, right? You look at their face, and that's what that's what it's telling you. So last night, I'm watching YouTube. Again, I'm not going to mention any names, but the interviewer goes up to a lady. Again, she's maybe about a 5, about 21 years old. And he said, if a man makes $100,000 a year, will you date him? And she started laughing and laughing so hard. She was like bending over, bending down, laughing. And I don't think she was drunk or anything. She might have had a drink or two. But she thought that was like the funniest thing. Only 100,000. And I'm thinking 100,000, that's really good, especially in today's times. It's either hard to find a job, or the places that are hiring, like restaurants or fast foods, they're only going to pay you minimum wage. I know a lot of men, older and younger, who are out of work. They can't find a good paying job. And they have skills, mechanic, electrician, things like that, welders. So when this woman said 100,000, She won't even consider dating him. Probably won't even talk to a guy that makes 100,000 a year. And just started laughing. She thought that was like the funniest thing. Like if the guy said, if the man made say $10 a year, it was funny like that to her, right? So anyway, and when this is over with, leave your comments down below because I like to know what you guys think. And if you know when this started, I know I've been seeing it for years, maybe at least, I don't know, the last 5 or 10 years. If you guys have any idea where these women got this in their head, there has to be $100,000 or more, can you leave that in the comments below? Because I'd really like to know. I don't know if a celebrity started this or a lady on Instagram or TikTok, but I keep seeing these videos every night, especially on Instagram. They're coming up. And like I said, I'm really not interested in these, but it just makes me wonder how this started, and about a month ago I seen one, and there was another guy asked a young woman about 25 years old, what would be the least a man would have to make in a year? And she thought for a minute, and she said, I would settle for $60,000 a year. And I'm thinking, whatever happened to 50,000? Remember when 50,000 a lot? I mean, remember when 50,000 was a lot in a year? Somebody would tell you, I make 50,000 a year. Like, wow, that's pretty good. And again, I think that's still really good in these times because I know people that make 50,000 a year or a little bit less. And yeah, we're just living in some really, really crazy times. And I've seen some other YouTube videos where it was more like a podcast. I know you guys have seen these too. They might have 5 or 6 women sitting around the table, young women. Then there'll be a man or maybe 2 men asking them questions. And the whole table, all the women think the same. It's like $100,000 a year as at the very low end. Again, they're saying 100,000, but their face is saying, $500,000, $1 million on up. Of course, there's nothing wrong with dating a rich man. But you never hear about the woman saying, I want a nice man, good personality, good heart. He won't abuse me physically. He won't abuse me mentally. Just all around a good man, right? Whatever happened to that? Now it's the 6-foot thing. That's 6 foot, flat stomach, this, that. And that's to make 100,000 plus a year. Now it's funny, we both know men and women think different. Sometimes it's like the opposite. But it's just always way different, right? But you never hear of men saying that. Telling their buddy, yeah, buddy, I want a date, but I don't know, she has to have a flat stomach and she's going to have to at least make 100,000 a year. What I'm really saying is she better make 500,000 to $1 million a year, because that's really what I'm looking for. But I'll just say $100,000 a year. This way it don't sound too bad. You never hear that. You never hear a man say that. Of course, us men, we're more visual, and I understand that. But it's just weird how things work like that. Like I said in a lot of my videos, I'm 58 years old. And I remember, growing up as a teenager. And I remember being 18, 21, 25. And women didn't go around saying that. The people I hung around with didn't even mention a price. It's just if you had a job, you were good. It's like you were in. Even if you work at a fast food place, you could say, you tell the woman, well, I'm working at a fast food place right now, but it's just temporary. I'm going to be a real estate agent, or go into sales, or, I'm saving money to open up my own business. You could tell them something like that. The women would say, I want a nice man. I want a good man. I want a guy with a good heart that's going to treat me well. That's what I remember. And I feel real sorry for the young men today. And a lot of these men, some I've been seeing, been kind of complaining about women and dating and stuff. I usually don't watch those kind of YouTube videos just to catch up, to see what's going on once in a while. And there's guys 40 years old, 35 years old saying how rough it is to date out there. Because, like my title said, did women ruin it for dating for everybody, right? And from what I understand now, a lot of men are scared to approach women out in public, maybe even sometimes on the internet, because they know they don't make $100,000 a year, and that's what the woman is going to be expecting. So I just wonder if this is going to die down one day or get worse. Because when I first started watching these videos, some would say like the $60,000, maybe $80,000. I'd say, okay, that's pretty good, but that's pushing it. Because again, that woman wasn't a 9 or a 10. We're talking maybe a 4 or a 5, right? And then I don't know when this happened. Then they started with this $100,000 a year thing, and then he has to be 6 foot or 6'5", all muscles, flat stomach. Out of all my friends, I know one guy that fits that description. I don't know how much he makes exactly, but it's way over 100,000 because he owns his own business. I won't say what it is, but that's why he makes so much. He's one of the best here in Las Vegas. And he might make $500,000 a year, maybe $1 million. And he's about 6'4", I would say. Really big muscles, flat stomach. But again, now he was born with genetics like that. So I seen a picture of his dad. His dad without his shirt on. And they have exactly the same body. The muscles, flat stomach. So he was born like that, my friend. Already big bone, tall, big, Now he does lift weights. So he's a little bit bigger than his dad was, just a little bit. But I've seen older pictures with before he started lifting weights, and his body looked identical to his dad. So anyway, I was just wondering your thoughts on this. I hope it changes, because I really feel sorry for the men out there. What these women are looking for, their standards are just way, way too high. And if any women are watching this, I would, you can do what you want. This is just my opinion, I wouldn't worry too much about the 6 foot, flat stomach, and making $100,000 or more. Because there's some really bad men out there. They don't have good personalities. They have horrible, horrible tempers. And if I had a daughter or was explaining to a woman, I would say, don't worry about how much the man makes. Because you can always make more money. Or get a side job, or work overtime on the weekends, or change careers eventually. The money can be there. But you have to start off with a good foundation, a good base, And a lot of the women will say, well, I don't want a nice man. I want a good man. I don't want a nice man. I don't want a good man. I want the bad boy. Well, there's an older man, 58 years old, telling you that bad boy phase, that don't last. Okay? Just for the women out there. The young women, when you're in your early 20s, your mid-20s, that's excitement for you. You know, the bad boy here, get on his motorcycle, take me to, on his Harley or whatever, take me to parties and party, party, party. But when you get around 28, right around that age, you're going to start thinking, well, I want a baby, right? You get those mom feelings coming in. And I know this because I've talked to a lot of women. I know women friends. So at 58 years old, I learned a few things, and this is one of them. So then around 28, 29, you're going to want to settle down. And you're not going to want that bad boy image. You're going to want that guy who's nice, with a good heart, who's not going to abuse you physically, mentally, or emotionally, and is going to be there to support you in everything. So anyway, this is just my advice. I do hope things change. And I don't know if this is going all around the world. The videos I see are right here in America. So I'm just talking, you know, for America right now. I don't know too much about Europe and the dating scene over there and stuff. But if I was a young woman, that's what I'd be concentrated on. Just getting a good man, a gentleman. Because that bad boy phase, you're not going to want that when you're 30 years old, 30 plus, you know. So just try to find a good man you get along with, you have things in common. You know, try to get a gentleman and make sure he has a good heart. Make sure that he doesn't have too bad of a temper. You know, just try to get a nice, cool guy, you know, down to earth. And again, I wouldn't worry about the 6 feet tall. That really isn't going to get you anywhere unless you want to have really tall children. Now, if you're a 6 foot woman, then I could see it. If you're 5'9", 5'10", or if we're getting look-wise, we're just talking height. But these women that are saying that, they're on the shorter side. You know, they're like maybe 5'2", 5'3". Why would you want a 6'3", 6'5" tall man? Right? That looks kind of funny. You're real tall, you're really short. So, all I'm saying is you should give the regular guys a chance, because you'll also hear women saying they're looking for their soulmate. They have in their head, again, 6 foot plus, 100,000, all that. But what about if your soulmate is only 5'6"? Right? Maybe you might make 60,000 a year. Maybe his stomach isn't the flattest. Again, the man can work on that, right? He can get his stomach flat if you insist on that. Go to the gym, lift some weights, get bigger, if that's a big deal to you. And maybe in his job, you can move up, right? Get a better position. The main thing you have to look for, women, is a good heart. And I would look for a gentleman, because a gentleman is hard to find nowadays, because the parents, I see it in real life too, and on video, the parents didn't raise good kids nowadays. They let them get out of hand. I guess you'd say bad kids, which turn into bad teenagers, which turns into bad men. So anyway, I was trying not to make this video too long. I hope things change for both, because the women, there's those high standards you're setting for yourself. There's not that many men out there like that. Again, with the 6 foot and the flat stomach and the 100,000 and all that. That might be, maybe they say 1% of men. 1%. And then you got to think, if you do find a man with all your list of things like that, is he going to be interested in you? Yeah, you got to think about that. Because that man is going to have his pick, probably hundreds, if not thousands of women. because you're all looking for the same thing. So you might want to give the 5'6", 5'7", 5'5" guy a chance. And again, don't worry so much about the money. You know, I think a lot of the women want the money nowadays. They want the Gucci purse, you know, the trips to Europe and the fancy cars, thinking that it's a great life. But I watch some of these TV shows, like these reality shows. Again, I won't say which one. And a lot of these women, they have that, whether they work or not. And the ones that don't work, their husbands went out and they gave them that life. And you've seen these shows. They have the mansions, they have the Ferraris, the Rolls Royces, whatever car they want. They shop every day on Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills. So they have the Gucci purses and the Chanel this and that. And you listen to these women, and most of them don't look happy. So they have all that stuff, the home, the house, the jewelry, the best of the best, and they don't look happy. At least to me, they don't. Some of them do, most of them don't. So that tells you right there, you know, to the 21 and 25-year-olds, just don't go for the money. Having money don't make you happy. You have to find the right man you're compatible with to make you happy. And both of you together, you'll probably have a job or a career, and both of you can work hard and build your wealth. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say on that. Like I said, I wasn't going to do this video, but when I seen that video last night of that girl just cracking up when she wouldn't even talk to a guy that makes $100,000 a year, because to me that's a lot. So and then like I said, I know what they're really thinking. They're thinking that $1 million a year. That's what they want, to get the fancy purses and clothes. But I really don't think all those fancy purses and clothes are going to make you happy like you think it will. It will that day when you buy it. Go in the store, you get the purse, you bring it home. It's a $20,000 purse. Great. What do you do the next day? You know, you're going to think, well, I didn't find the right husband, but you know, he makes $10 million a year. I can go shopping on Rodeo Drive every other day. Get all that fancy stuff, jewelry, cars, homes. But are you really going to be happy in your heart? Right? So anyway, again, that's just my advice. Leave in the comments below. So I hope it changes. I hope women change their mind to, or at least, yeah, hey, $50,000 a year. That's great. And you don't have to be 6'5". You know, if he's 5'6", that's great. The stomach's flat, fine. If not, fine. Because it's his heart that counts. He's a gentleman. That's what counts. He treats me right. And then the main thing is, too, he don't abuse you. Physically, emotionally, mentally. Because that's really important. You know, that's probably the most important. Especially the physically. Because a lot of guys out there are physically abusive. A lot of times the women don't know until after they marry the guy. You know, the guy holds that back. So that's the other thing. Before you get married, women, really get to know your guy. Don't rush into marriage. You know, give it a good couple of years. Really date him and get to know him very, very well. And guys, same thing. You know, the divorce rate, they say, is higher than ever. And the couples I know, and over, you know, through my lifespan so far, I've known a lot of couples. And to be honest with you, I only know 2 couples that are happy. I mean, really happy. Genuinely still in love with their partner after 20, one's 20 years and one's going on 30 years. The rest are okay. They go through every day, husband and wife, smiling. Yeah, we love each other. We're doing good. but it looks fake. You know, you know, behind doors they're arguing, they're screaming, they're fighting at each other, and they're not too happy. You know, and it makes them wonder what happened. You know, was it the first year something went wrong? The second year? Did they take enough time to really get to know each other? You know, take a couple years, 2, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. I know some people, you know, they rushed into getting married after 6 months or a year. You know, a year can seem like a long time, but when you're dating, to me, in my opinion, a year is a short time. You know, maybe even 2 years. Because in that time, you're not seeing each other every day, usually, you know. Maybe you're only dating on Friday and Saturday nights. You know, I don't know. Every situation, every couple's different. So, again, you know, don't rush into things. You know, a lot of people rush into marriage to hold that woman or to hold that guy. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. Don't rush. I think that's why we have so many divorces now. Again, in my opinion, because people rush. So, anyway, again, let me know your thoughts. I know you guys have thoughts on this. I know you women have thoughts. I might get some hate on this. That's okay. Like I said, I'm no expert. This is just my own personal opinions. You know, you guys do what you feel you want to do. This is just us talking. And this is just advice I would give to a young woman or a young man or any age really. So I'm going to end it here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, okay? Or if you have any other ideas or anything I didn't mention that you want to talk about, let me know, okay? All right, well, you guys take care, like always, and I'll see you guys next time.